Good evening, everybody. All right, we get a lot of requests for the individual signals and patterns, so we're going to do the left-right combo tonight. We did this a few months back, and there were still people wanting to see it again. So because of our candlestick scanning, we can identify the strongest signals and patterns and then be able to scan for them very quickly. Now, our strongest signals and patterns are the best friend, the left-right combo, a series of dojis. I mean, there's 6 or 8 of just the signals, and then there's a bunch more as far as combinations with the signals and the patterns that work very effectively. So, why the left-right combo? Through the years, we know, or the bread and butter analysis is that you can find very strong price movements based upon the signals in the patterns. But through the years, we've kind of quantified them a little bit where the combinations seem to work even better. And what that produces is high probability expected results. So the left-right combo is very simple. It's a doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal. So if you try to analyze the psychology, a day of indecision, and then a big bullish signal, in this case a bullish engulfing signal, kind of tells you pretty much what they did after the indecisive day. Now, like the best friend signal or the series of dojis or the fry pan bottom breakout, the expectation of the next price move is extremely strong. So confirmation is not required. The probabilities are so strong that when you see a left-right combo, you can start buying the next day, or if you were short and you saw a left-right combo, close out the positions because the probabilities are so strong that you're heading in an uptrend that and you definitely want to close out that position. So the left-right combo just changes things. I mean, the strength of the signal is so compelling. Notice what the nature of this trading was. It's kind of junky until the left-right combo. John, you can. But that would also be a function of seeing that the market was heading in the right direction, that you weren't getting a little bit toppy in the market. I would rather buy on positive trade in the next day, or if I see something and I've been waiting for this to break out and I see this, maybe I buy a half a position so that if it does gap up, I'm buying the other half, so my average cost is here, halfway in between. So, first of all, the warning is you see a doji down here toward the oversold area, followed by a left-right combo. I would still get ready to buy on positive trading. I wouldn't necessarily. Now, on the other hand, if I was short, I'd be closing out that position. But here's a left-right combo during the trend. What's it tell us about the strength of the trend? Well, obviously, it's telling us that they are holding at the T-line, but there's still more upside. So this is what we kind of expect. Notice that this little left-right combo is setting us up for a bobble breakout type pattern. So during the scans, which we'll get to, we can find this type of thing. what do we see setting up here? Well, there's our J-hook pattern. And how is it starting? With a left-right combo. This is it just gives that added credence to the fact that this is probably coming back up to the top of the channel. So, as you've heard me advocate here for the past few months, instead of trying to learn no, I shouldn't say that. Instead of trying to become an expert at all the signals and patterns, learn all the signals and patterns, but then become an expert at 4 or 5. So people always ask, well, which ones do I follow? I keep an eye out for the best friend signal, the left-right combo, the kicker signal, the fry pan bottom breakout, and what we're seeing recently, it looks like the J-hook pattern is very effective. Stochastics, remember, this is a pattern. We're looking for the buy signal in the oversold area. The pattern set up, like a J-hook pattern, your stochastics are sometimes going to be in the overbought area and or setting up where you can see how it's pulled back and then curling back up again. So keep that in mind, that you're looking for candlestick buy signals in the oversold area. You're more than likely going to see the patterns in the overbought or as a J-hook type pattern even on the stochastics. So I throw this in here because we've done the formulas for the Thinkorswim platform where you can put in, there's a left-right combo, and then you hit scan and it brings up your list. And then you can pick out the best ones of that list and you take a look at those. And then if you move over to your chart, it'll show you even where the left-right combo is and kind of even label it for you. So I picked out a couple from that. And now here again, here's a left-right combo, but it's probably in an uptrend, meaning the next price move is probably going to be the top of the uptrend. And it works just as effectively on the bearish side, a bearish left-right combo. So the scans are very easy, and the analysis is very easy in the sense that there's our left-right combo right on the T-line. There's our left-right combo right on the T-line. So it just makes it, is this done? It can be done in real time, yes, on Thinkorswim anyways. Now, remember, the scanning process can be done on whatever scanning software you're using, which is which means if you're using TC2000 or Metastock, or if you want to use your scanning software right on the trading platform like Thinkorswim, I think Trades, I don't know whether TradeStation has it set up already or not, but that's basically, oh no, on real time meaning if I was looking to, or if I did a scan, let's say on this chart that day, during the day, it would show me real time that that one was setting up. So it's scanning for stuff right at that time. So if this was setting up during the day, you could update your charts through the scan and it would find the ones that are developing right at that time. So your normal process is when you get into an oversold area and you see doji left-right combo, that's telling you the probabilities are pretty strong. You're going to start heading back up. again, works both on the long side as well as the short side. So what adds to your, and you use these signals on, yeah, DC 2000. Matter of fact, I use that one quite a bit myself. So observe the obvious. You can see there's kind of a downtrending channel. And when it got to the top of the downtrending channel, what do we have? We got a bearish left-right combo, and it closes back below the T-line. On this chart, where do you think the next expected target was? Back down here to the bottom of the channel. So, again, you can set up your scans. They find the charts for you very easily. And you can even set it up to where it labels it for you. So I think, these are old slides. We have that power pack where you can buy the whole power pack that shows you all the different signals and patterns. And these are all the ones that we're going after, all the signals and patterns. So if you just, again, you don't have to learn them all, but you want to be familiar with them because they provide such high probability trade results, which we'll get here to in a minute here on live charts. But if I see something like this, like a best friend signal, bouncing off a support level, I know I've probably got more upside. If I've got a bearish left-right combo gap down, I've got a pretty good inclination that there's going to be, not an inclination, probability that there's going to be a big downside trend at that point. So again, this isn't rocket science. You're in the overbought area and you see a sell signal, you're probably going to see a downtrend. If you're in the oversold area and you see a buy signal, you're probably in an uptrend. So this kind of alerts us to the fact that not only do we have a sell signal, but we got a strong sell signal, meaning the left-right combo. If I was long and I saw this setting up, I would probably close out half the position. Because if it opens lower, where do you think our next likely target's going to be? Probably at least back to the T-line. Again, this is all just, there's kind of your best friend, bearish Harami gap down. There's your bearish left-right combo continuing the downtrend. So I like the left-right combo because it's a, where's your best friend again? Sell signal. Because it produces such a high probability result for you. And if you see it occurring right at a level that everybody else is watching, shooting star, doji, bearish left-right combo, what do you think's happening to this trend? It's still in a downtrend, but now your probabilities are pretty strong that you're going to come back down into this area. Let's see. When you look at the charts and you see the gap up or down or even engulfing signal, does the fact that the market as a whole has the same action have a mitigating factors? Certainly. Today we made recommendations, and I'll get to those when we go to the live charts. But it was on the basis that if they opened positive and started trading positive, you wanted to start buying, confirming the signals. But when you wake up and you see that the pre-market futures are showing the market's going to open down 170 points, obviously you're not going to jump into that not into that trade right away because the market's selling off hard. So you're more apt to, if you'd done their scans the night before, things that you were looking to go short on were probably better probabilities. So when you look at my buy recommendations on that 2-minute video each night, or sell recommendations. Just use simple logic. If the market looks like it's selling off, you probably want to concentrate on the short recommendations. If the market looks like it's continuing higher, you probably want to look at the long situations. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you disregard the other recommendations, because the market may be heading down and one of the longs may have a good, strong, positive open and start continued buying, which means it's disregarding the direction of the market. That's telling you the bulls have taken control. Daniel, I'm pretty sure it is on TradeStation, but I don't use TradeStation. Don, they should all be on Thinker, or on, if they should have the candlestick signals on Thinkorswim as far as the signals themselves, or the package. We've got that software package where we've done up the formulas that aren't the normal signals and patterns, like the best friend. And Becky, I'm kind of floundering here. I don't know whether we still have that link, but there's a package where you can download all the high, what we call the high, or the top rank signals and patterns, and now you have them on there. Is that it? Okay. Now you have those on your Thinkorswim as well as the normal signals and patterns. A lot of people have a hard time figuring out when it's time to sell. There's your left-right combos. So this is kind of the evidence that investor sentiment is starting to wane up here. Doji, 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 meaning indecision. And then the bearish left-right combo is kind of that final nail in the coffin. Then notice the next signal that occurred on this one. Again on TC2000. Oh, I don't think the high profit signals and patterns are on there. But all the other signals and patterns should be on TC2000. Since I've started working with them like 25 years ago. So that's your final nail in the coffin. When do you go short? Look at your bearish doji sandwich closing below the T line. Where do you think your next logical target would be? Down here to the 50. Or if you see your best friend signal right smack dab, this wasn't Friday's recommendation, right smack dab off the 50, what's that telling you? Right here they stopped the selling and then they came back in strong. What do you think you're in at this point? Wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. So I'm much more inclined to start going after signals and patterns that are the strong signals and patterns, like the best friend signal. And if you add, this is what we call convergence analysis. When you start getting more indicators like a bounce off the 50, stochastics curling back up, best friend signal close above the T line, those are all pieces of information that kind of increase the probabilities you're in an uptrend. Joel, the high profit formulas that you put on Thinkorswim you have to pay for, but all the other formulas are on the website, and or if you're in the chat room each day, all you have to do is ask somebody, do you have the formula for a bullish engulfing signal? They'll just put it in there and you copy and paste it onto whatever software you're using. All right. These are daily charts, yes, Dio. But remember, a candlestick signal is the graphic depiction of everybody buying and selling during a specific time frame. This could be a 10-minute chart. This could be a 1-minute chart. This could be a monthly chart. They all look exactly the same. So when I'm trading futures during the middle part of the day, I'm usually using a 10-minute chart. Again, there's your overbought condition, a bearish engulfing, a bearish best friend telling you the forces to the downside. So to further answer you, if you're a day trader, you might be using a combination of a 1-minute, 5-minute, 15-minute chart, or a 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute chart combination. Okay. So anyways, that's the dynamic power pack and the thinkorswim, or not the thinkorswim, the left-right combo is all part of that. So we're this is what we're promoting. We're starting to do Saturday sessions. That way you can come in and for an hour, which never turns out to be an hour. It's going to be probably an hour and a half, 2 hours. But we concentrate on specific signals and patterns. So on February 15th, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time, so the California people don't have to get up in the dark, we're going to be doing that 1-hour type session. And what this does is it allows you to look at the signals, patterns, understand them, and then because we're there and we're going to be there until everybody understands exactly what they're looking at, I keep answering questions until everybody's all questioned out. So these are very informative because you don't have a big chat room. It's a relatively small groups, and we get a lot of training, a lot of answers, a lot of questions answered. How about that? Okay, that's not what I want to do. Oh, okay. So I'm going to try to go into, this is not working well. Let's just get rid of this. All right, so today, doing the scans, there's a left-right combo on NLOK. So what can we assume from this this setup? More than likely, we've got a J-hook pattern, and we're heading back to the top of the charts. I know a lot of people follow Advanced Micro. You can see what it did today off the 34, a bullish left-right combo. Would I be buying? I'd probably wait till it gets up to the T-line, but aggressive traders might be buying immediately on positive trading and just make sure it does get up through the T-line. And of course, they are always, yes, okay, that's Jim. The amount of time frame on the chart doesn't really matter because you can make it as big or as small as you want. The only real important factor is this right here. So I usually make my charts big enough that I can see what the signals are. So it doesn't matter how far back you want to go. Now, if I was buying right here and I wanted to see if there was something relevant in the past, I could make the chart much smaller. Well, what can I assess from this chart? Well, it's bouncing up off the 34, and it's an uptrend. If it gets back up above the T-line, the uptrend is still in progress. I take it if it's bouncing off a support like the 50 or the 34, that adds more credence. Yes. Which one did we do? Oh, we're doing it. In this case, it's bouncing off of here. If you see something, trying to think of which, if you saw that it had bounced off the 50 a few times, came up, back down, and came up, back down. If it came back down and hit the 50 again and bounced back up, what is the logical implication of that? Everybody is watching to see what it's going to do with the 50. We can see immediately what they're doing because we see the bullish signals. So when does a stock bottom out? Whoops, made this too small, didn't I? Look how it traded flat, traded flat, traded flat. Now we got a left-right combo. What happens tomorrow if it opens positive? Two things. It's confirming our left-right combo, number one. And number two, it's telling us the T-line is not acting as a resistance level. It's time to buy. VIX did kind of a little left-right combo, and it closed right at the T-line. Now, if it opened, notice the tail up here, the profit taking after it hit a high. What happens if it opens positive tomorrow? Well, it's confirming our left-right combo. It's telling us it's staying up above the T-line. And two, that the profit taking of today is over. They're still buying after the buy signal. Don't you need a longer chart to see the pattern from which signal develops? Don't you need a longer chart? Joe, no, what do you mean a longer chart? The Morningstar signal is only a 3-day pattern. 3 months, it doesn't really matter. It's, yeah, we're looking at this right here. Now, if I want to see what else it's done in the past, yeah, then I can make my charts a lot smaller and see what type of pattern it's doing. Yeah, so is there a resistance level? Yeah, there's a resistance level here, so that'd be the first target if it got through the moving averages. But what is the most important factor? Bill is saying it, yes. What is the sentiment now? We're not buying the past, but everybody else takes a look at the past. Everybody else takes a look at Fibonacci retracement. Everybody else watches what it does at the support and resistance levels of moving averages or trend lines. All we're doing is analyzing what they are doing at those levels. We're not trying to anticipate those levels. Our main function is to analyze what the investor sentiment is telling us at that point. And WDR, left-right combo, big reversal in the oversold area. Yeah, more than likely it's coming back up. Valero. I have a left-right combo with an inverted hammer. Another one that if it opens positive tomorrow, what's it indicating? That they're probably going to be not resisting at the T-line and confirming the left-right combo. Okay, let me go regress here a little bit. Let's analyze what the market told us today. we knew that we had an evening star signal up here. I'm going to make this bigger. Selling, selling. It could have held here at the T-line. But notice what happened last week. We had the bearish left-right combo. Was that last week? Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Yes. So what was all the indications on this signal? First of all, we could see the stochastics were heading lower. Second, we had a bearish left-right combo, strong. Third, it closed below the T-line. If we saw that 20 minutes before the close on Friday, what should we have been doing, which hopefully some of us did? We should have been closing out long positions. Yeah. AP, earlier you said no confirmation needed. But what about below the T-line? If it closes, let's see, on the, is that referring to the left-right combo? If you're below the T-line, remember our caveat that if you buy a candlestick buy signal, you can stay long until you see a candlestick sell signal and a close below the T-line. With the caveat that the further away you move from the T-line, the higher the probability it's going to come back and test it. Or the further you move away from the T-line, the higher the probability it's going to come back up and test it. Now, what is our confirmation when we get to the T-line? It is, if it opens positive, it's telling us after a buy signal that the T-line is not a resistance level anymore. If we got down here and we saw a reversal buy signal, where do you think our first likely target is going to be? Back up to the T-line. Dio, you entered Amazon 4 days ago. Oh, I'm just going to flip to Amazon because if you bought it off the bounce, good for you. Obviously, you know where Amazon is trading tonight, don't you? Yes, up 200 points. So if I bought calls here and I had that huge a profit, I would probably take a good part of that off, maybe half, if not more, and then see what it does after it opens tomorrow. Because what was the point of buying in the first place? Try to make a good profit. Well, if it's opening up way up here, take the money, and that's what you're in the business for. So that was a good buy, especially using the spinning top bounce off the 50. Because where would you think your first target was going to be? Dang, I can't get rid of that little thing, and I don't know why. Yep, take the money. You hit a big one. Now, were you just lucky, or is that what you were looking for? No, if you're buying based on the candlestick signals telling you when it's time to buy, it's putting you in positions to be in the right place at the right time with the prospects that being in the right place at the right time put you in situations where you might be making big, huge moves. Okay, so I was back at the indexes. So this is what gives us added probabilities. We saw what happened today, a little belt hold type signal. So you can see based upon the candles that even though they were up today, had they closed here, it would have been a down day, but you could see they were buying after the open. This is very simple also. That if this opens positive tomorrow, we got a J-hook pattern setting up, and what can we assume? Okay, Dow, send me a big check and the stake thing and all of that stuff. Anyways, right now we could analyze it. If this opens positive tomorrow, which I'm guessing it will, why would we anticipate the markets being up tomorrow? Oops. I think right now the Qs are trading up $2. K would be the best friend signal, doji gap up, the left-right combo, the kicker signal, and maybe the fry pan bottom breakout, or a J-hook pattern. We're getting a lot of J-hook patterns right now because that's what the market is doing, J-hook patterns. Yes, so they're up. They closed at 22.60. They're at 24.70. So they're up about $2, which I am guessing. No, this is what I was leading to in the first place. Amazon up 200 points. Now, can you trade Amazon? Not necessarily. After moving that big. Microsoft up to an all-time high. I think they said it went above $1 trillion value. One more. Goldman Sachs came up. So the rationale is, even if you aren't trading Amazon, what do you think is going to be going on in most investor sentiments when it trades up here, up huge? Same time you got Microsoft up big. Other stocks like Deckers gapping way up. Not so much taking profits as people very confident that the bullish market is still in place. So that means if we expect the market to be opening up positive tomorrow, we should be looking at things that are going to produce good bullish price moves. Yes, Tesla, that was the other one. Let's get rid of all these. Tesla. I got to be careful because they've gapped it up in the overbought area. But the fact that Tesla is trading up higher, Amazon up big, Microsoft at an all-time high, everybody's going to be very confident. Does it make a difference, all else being equal, if there is a number of up candles in a row or down in a short? Jake, you stay long until you see a sell signal and a close back below the T line. So what do we want to get stuck in? We definitely want to get stuck in stocks that are up day after day after day. I meant if I'm looking to buy. Jake, the whole reason that you should be here in the first place is that you want to buy things that tell you it's time to buy. Let me go through a few. We know what type of pattern setup this is. This is Twilio. This is our bobble breakout. So this is where you kind of put your analysis, just common sense analysis, which the whole point of candlesticks to me was that when I started learning candlesticks, which didn't sound very sophisticated, but then understood what the signals were telling us, everything was just common sense put into a graphic depiction. So through the years, so back to your your statement, Jake, is I want to find things that look like this because I know what the expected result is from this little cup and handle or classic pattern. But I also know what this pattern is. That when I got up here to the 200-day moving average, what do we have? A shooting star, bearish engulfing. It was time to take profits because that's where everybody was selling. Now, what advantage do we have? Or if you put the T-line on your chart. If we know the T-line acts like a natural support and resistance level of human nature, and the fact that they pulled it back and they actually used the T-line as a support, and they couldn't close below the T-line, when it came back up through the resistance level, what pattern do we have? Well, we call it a bobble pattern, which is a more sophisticated J-hook pattern in the sense that we can see exactly where they sold. So if you took the 200 off your chart, you'd still have a J-hook pattern. It just becomes more defined, so we know when to get out of a trade, selling at a resistance level. We don't know whether it's going to come back all the way down here, but the fact that we could see they weren't closing it below the T-line told us get ready for the next pattern. Hold on for a second. Yes. So like anything else, well, not so much the 50. The T-line is what we want to do. So right now, this one's telling me if this is wave 1, my bobble breakout tells me wave 3 is going to take me up quite a bit higher. I'm going to go through a few here. Look at our momentum. Look at our bullish engulfing left-right combo. You can still be buying this one, especially if it breaks out through this level. What was the obvious? There's a J-hook pattern setting up, and they can't close it below the T-line. Uber also is trying to set up for a J-hook pattern off the T-line. And again, why do we say it's trying to set up? Because look what's happened. Even on that bad hair day, they've still brought it back up and closed above the T-line. That tells us we're still in an uptrend. So one of the highest probability trade setups is the candlestick signals and where is it in conjunction with the T-line. OSMT. We can see what's happening here. We're in the overbought area, doji, doji, doji. Where would we not want to see this close? Back below the T-line. Because either we're looking for this next wave up, or if they start selling it off, you close out the position. CDMO was one that we recommended, but it didn't execute, or if it did execute, it should have been out right here because it closed back below the T-line. The probabilities tell us anytime you close below the T-line, the probabilities are more of a downtrend. However, we could also analyze, they did a hammer signal right here at the 50. If it starts trading positive tomorrow, you can still buy it because what is it telling us? A bullish engulfing signal off the 50. A hammer signal confirming off the 50. Where do you think our next target is likely to be? There's a wave 1, wave 3, probably up through that level. So this is just simple analysis to say that if we see buy signals, especially at a technical level, like the support level of 50, that's telling you exactly what we want to know. Where is everybody buying? Hold on to your individual ones until we get done here, which we're far from being done. We're looking for the same thing on NK. It's supporting on the T-line, but it needs to confirm this little slow curve to the upside. Are there any specific targets for a Bob Bull signal? Yes. Wave 1 and wave 3 are going to be the same. So on the short side, somebody was asking, we've been short this one. Notice your bearish cradle pattern, closed below the T-line. Now you had a bullish engulfing signal today. Now, here's just some simple profit-taking strategies. If you're in the oversold area and they are trading back up above the high of the previous day or even the open of the previous day, close out the position. The probabilities are now going against you. Was that a bearish left-right on NK? Not really. Yeah, it's just too small to say that's a major change of investor sentiment. Now, if it did open lower tomorrow and start trading lower, yeah, you could say that was a bearish signal. So it definitely has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. Okay, whoops. Can't read my own handwriting. So here's another major pattern. Opposite the fry pan bottom is the dumpling top. You can see how it's rounding out, and then they start gapping it down. They still haven't been able to get it back up above the T-line. This is the type of thing that can experience that big breakdown. They're dumpling top on deer. They slam it to the downside. Or Schlumberger. Big rounding top, and they've slammed it to the downside. Got a few more. Right there. Oh, Crocs. See the dumpling top. So even though you're getting toward the oversold area, remember, when they break these down, they'll break them down hard and fast. And that's where you can make some big profits. Just like the fry pan bottom, when they break it up, it goes, no, I don't think it would be too late, but what you do on this one is, what signal would we have if they open this one lower tomorrow? Pretty much you got your bearish doji sandwich, which would be another indicator to start shorting that one. And Cummings was another one. Oops. And a big rounding top. So this also fits into that evaluation that the Japanese rice traders tell us about human nature, which is, where do most people sell? They panic sell at the bottom. Where do most people buy? They buy exuberantly at the top. So this is why when you see this big selling, they all get panicky and they start just they start bailing out. Not necessarily. Oh, it is. Let me take a here. if it opened lower tomorrow, first of all, what's our simple rule of the doji? They're going to move it in the direction how they open after a doji. So if they opened it lower and started trading lower, what was it saying about the 50? They're starting to break this one down. Hold on to your individual ones until we get done here. So another one that's not very much of a trader, but Coca-Cola, which is one of your quintessential institutional trades or positions, you can see there's a little best friend signal there. So there's probably more upside in Coca-Cola. So if you've got all these big name stocks that are trading higher, pretty much tells you that investor sentiment is still pretty strong. That tonight you probably want to be scanning for strong bullish patterns. Which you've got something like Fitch. You can see the scoop type pattern. You can see the little left-right combo. They gapped it up. Let me make this bigger. Oops, I'm sorry, that wasn't a left-right combo. That was a kicker type signal. Notice how they opened here, closed here. Then they gapped it up and went this direction. Now, it did some profit taking. Very simple. If they open this positive tomorrow, what's it tell you about the profit taking? The profit taking is over. The kicker signal is still in control. So, a lot of people say, well, I don't want to trade a volatile stock, do you? You do if you understand what the signals and patterns are telling you. So this was NNVC. I guess it's one of the ones for the virus thing. Fry pan bottom breakout. Now, how do you trade this? Just like any other chart, look what happened. They pulled back through the T-line, did a doji harami, telling you the selling had stopped, and then opened positive. That tells you they're still in an uptrend. On your coming to where you just spotted a green after a huge downdraft. Bullish candle tomorrow would be over. Oh, here, a green. Remember, that's not a signal. So I'd still be looking at this, but I wouldn't be buying this. That's not a signal. It's almost a piercing signal, but what qualifications would have had to have happened to make this a piercing signal? It would have had to have closed more than halfway up this candle. So this becomes a perfect short, because if they open this lower tomorrow, that tells you this was just a bounce that they're heading down. What was the other one? Luckin. Kind of the same scenario right here. We had a bearish left-right combo close below the T-line. Closed out any long positions. Well, then they popped it back up. And notice what type of signal this was right here. That's not a signal. Let me make this big enough where we can all see it. That's just an update and a downtrend. When they opened it lower the next day, I told you this non-signal was just a bounce. You could be shorting it. Is that a left-right oncoming? Kind of a bearish left-right? Could be, yes. But what you really want to see is a left-right combo, like up here, where the trend isn't that already done. Yes, on this one, Weight Watchers. That's a bullish engulfing. Does the engulfing signify a buy or is movement above the T line? I would probably be waiting. If I was short, I'd cover my short. If I was going to buy, I'd probably want to see enough strength to get back up through the T-line. Jake, yeah, you can short things even with the market heading higher. There's, I think, somewhere around 9,500 trading entities out there. The simplicity of candlestick scans will find the good bullish charts, obviously, in a bullish market, but it will also very quickly find strong bearish stock moves in a bullish market, and vice versa. If you're in a market downtrend, you're always going to find some buy signals during a downtrend. So APT, another one that's moved up significantly, bounced back to the T-line. You can still buy this one on positive trading. UPS, I think, had bad earnings, but that's your bearish best friend. And once again, notice what they did to get back up to the T-line. Indecisive, and then slam. Taking it down hard. Fry pan bottoms. Make this smaller. There's kind of your big fry pan bottom. And where did they break out? Right here with a J-hook pattern. Let's see. My handwriting, I guess I shouldn't drink so much while I'm writing. There's another fry pan bottom, J-hook pattern, breakout. So there's nothing you could really do. You could probably have traded this one, but the J-hook pattern was additional confirmation that wave 1 and wave 3 are going to be the same, which told you they were probably breaking out. Let's get rid of it. They were breaking out through this level, telling you there's probably more upside. This is the classic pattern. This is a J-hook or a fry pan bottom followed by a J-hook pattern. We call it the classic because what's the prerequisite for a J-hook pattern? A strong price move. What's the expectation coming out of a fry pan bottom? A strong price move. So they usually are in correlation with each other, where you have a fry pan bottom, strong price move, then followed by a J-hook pattern. Don, it's not anything difficult. I usually count to at most 3. This is wave 1. This is wave 2. Now I've got a J-hook pattern, which basically says this wave right here and this wave right here will be the same. So that's my wave 3. Now, if it gets up here and pulls back and does a J-hook, this is wave 1, that's wave 2, that's wave 3. Is this still a buy? Yeah, I'd be buying this one on positive trading. AVLR, same scenario. There's your J-hook pattern, kind of a belt hold signal. Notice how they gapped it down and brought it back to the trading range. Now you've got a belt hold, so you could be buying this one, especially if it opens positive and goes up through that level. How do you determine the starting point of a wave? Just anything. That's kind of the beginning of this wave. That's the beginning of this wave. So it's not an exact calculation. This wave and this wave will be approximately the same. Now, when I say approximately the same, if it gets up here somewhere and I see a shooting star or a bearish engulfing signal, that tells me that wave is probably over. I'll start taking profits. Remember, the most important factor is buying on the buy signal and selling on the sell signals. What was that? Okay. So here's, somebody was asking earlier, if you see a signal right at a major moving average, is that relevant? Yes. Notice this is kind of the using what everybody else uses for analysis. If you go through a resistance level, what's human nature do? They usually come back and test it to see if it's going to act as support. We can see the doji and then a positive open. Remember our doji rule? If you see a doji, it's going to move in the direction how they open after that. If they open up positive and start trading positive, would that just tell us about the support level of the 200? Our signal told us they were buying. Pulled back, hit the 50, closed back up above the 200. What can we anticipate now? Probably wave 1, wave 2, going into wave 3. What would be our first target to see if they can get up through this level? This is a bobble breakout potential, MITK, which will probably be recommended tomorrow on positive trading. What's our bobble breakout? Failed right here at the 200. Couldn't really close below the T-line. Came back up to the 200. If it opens positive, if you took the 200 out, what do you have? A J-hook pattern. There's your classic. Fry pan bottom, J-hook pattern. Just more defined of where the breakout is. And this one, DESP. This is your best friend signal. Right smack dab off the 200, through the 50, through the T-line. What type of, I shouldn't say it this way. We know pretty much what our trend will be from here. Probably a 45 degree, kind of in the same trajectory what the trend was doing before. So the fact that they did a best friend signal tells me I've got high probability that this one's heading higher. Okay, we did, so the biggies that aren't doing anything right now, you can see right here that, well, maybe it's holding up. Netflix, kind of just in this very slow uptrend, and then Nvidia still hasn't been able to get back up above the T-line. So I wouldn't be surprised they gap this market up tomorrow and then eventually get back up into the trend, of which that's what the market has been doing now. Oh, pshaw. Well. I'm the type that doesn't like to make the same mistake 7 times. But we can see we've had a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Now maybe a wave 1, wave 2, going into the next wave 3. Oh, I don't know. Oh. If you saw that huge gap at the open on DSP and bought it, where would you have put your stop? If this gapped up and is trading positive, what makes a best friend signal? Very simple. A bullish candle or bullish trading. If I bought it here, where would I come out of it? I'd probably set a sell stop right here at the open, because logic says if the bulls are in control, you're going to have a green candle. If it came back down through the open, who's winning? The bears. And where are you at that point? You're back into this trading range. Okay, so the fact that we've got some of the biggies trading up huge tells you investor sentiment is not going to get discouraged probably at least over the next few days, which means the good probability they're going to bring the Dow back up above the T-line and maybe even get it right back up into this range, which tells us we might have 3, 4, 5 days of positive trading to get back up into the trend. Same scenario with the NASDAQ, that if they open this one positive tomorrow, if they open this one positive tomorrow, and I'm sure they're going to gap up the NASDAQ to get back up into this trend channel. So I don't advocate people who say you think the markets are going to go much higher. I have no idea. But right now, it looks like they're going higher. So for the next few days, I'm definitely going to be setting up or getting into long positions. Okay, so with that, are there any general questions on candlesticks? Oh, I don't know. Oh, can I make the pointer bigger? Pointer tools. I don't know how to make it bigger. No, I wouldn't be buying Microsoft for 2 reasons. Because Microsoft is slow trading. If I was going to buy this one, I would probably be buying spread, so I don't have a lot of money exposed. But here's what you should be analyzing. It's hitting a high. So everybody say, well, should I be buying it now? Not everybody. No, you should be looking back to say, I could have been buying it here, or I should have been buying it here. So anytime you look at a chart, let me see if I can figure out one. No. If somebody's asking, should I be buying here? The answer is no. You should be going back and analyzing where would you have been buying. Now, it's harder to recognize when to be buying when it's just starting because there's nothing big there. But this is why we constantly look at charts that if this set up this type of move and you find it and you're thinking, should I be buying here? You should be thinking, all right, I need to be analyzing what type of signal this was to tell me that was the time to be buying. So, who asked that? Daniel? No. Oops, on Microsoft. No, I would be looking for something else that looks more like this than Microsoft that's already gapping up in the overbought condition at the top of a trend. That's not a high probability trade. Well, it's not actually bought, but there's too many. There's 10,000 trading entities out there. On any given day, you can find 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, 15, 20. Good trades. Do you avoid buying the first? No. If the market's opening positive and this one's opening positive, it's confirming my pattern, I'm buying probably within the first 90 seconds to 5 minutes. Does Morningstar signal near a high count as a buy signal? It could, depending on what type of pattern it's setting up. Where am I looking here? That's not quite a Morningstar signal. A few days ago, yeah, it wasn't quite a Morningstar signal. You wanted to see it close above the halfway point of this candle. Now, Sometimes if you have a flat handle and a morning star signal, it's like your mini scoop. Oh, I could use, this is crude oil. So we use the commodity charts if you're not trading commodities to say, all right, crude oil is heading lower. So that means I wouldn't necessarily be buying oil stocks right now. On the other hand, if I can look at gold, let's go to gold. Seems to be slowly moving up. Well, maybe I start looking at some of the gold stocks to see. Whoop, that one isn't a good one. Here's one for silver. Maybe I start looking at that. But I trade during the day. I trade futures when I mention it while we're in the options trading room. So you can see what's happened to soybeans, and I was trading wheat today. And so I trade off the 10-minute chart. So you can see the shooting star, you can see the bearish left-right combo, and then the downtrend. However, look what happened today in wheat. I'll show you the charts. So, traded this to the downside, took profits, and then traded it back to the upside. And this was, I think it closed right in here. So this is a 10-minute chart. So look, as you can see, it looks exactly the same as a daily chart. Oh, hanging man. Do you buy your options in the first few minutes of the start of trading? If I do, I'm setting it in the middle of the bid-ask. I don't want to chase after it because usually what happens is people jump right into options, so they're hitting the ask side, and it runs the price up. I wait for a little bit for it to pull or settle down. Okay. If trees start up here, I don't know what that means. If trees start up here, I'm supposed to wait 5, 6. So anyways, yeah, I trade, as I say, I trade commodities during the day, and I'm usually looking to see which way it's going to trade, and then usually trade the charts in that direction. Oh, on AMD, there are times where you don't have a good trading situation yet. So as you can see, AMD, after the left-right combo, started trading off. Now it's pretty junky. So you don't know what it's going to do in here. So I wouldn't buy this until I see a confirmed buy signal and it comes back up through the T line. CRS, that's not a great chart either because it gapped up. If I had bought on this gap up, my stop would have been at today's open, and I wouldn't be long or short because there's no direction on this one. So if you look at a chart and you can see that it's acting well and then not acting well, then was this a red candle? That's just not a good tradable chart. Okay, let's do this. Jim, go ahead and do the double line. Let me make sure I didn't. Phil, I will illustrate those signals as soon as I see them. Neil, you looked at all those before the close. All right, let's take it. There are we. Rambus. You can buy this on positive trading. There's your left-right combo gap up. I'd suspect a 45 degree. Jim, do the other double line. ADM. That one you get ready to buy on positive trading. Remember, it's going to move in the direction of how they open after the doji. I would just stay long on Apple, and I'm sure with all the momentum, Apple's going to start trading higher also. VGT. Oh, let's make these bigger. You can buy this one. Again, a J-hook pattern in progress. The SPY. Whoops, that's not the SPY. The SPY, again, open lower, came up. If it opens positive, you're back up above the T-line. Just remember the T-line rule, that if you're above the T-line, the probabilities are you're in an uptrend. Bill, was that Apple? Stay long. Bloom. Oh boy, I wouldn't be in this. Open, tested, 200 for support, go long. Joe, it's not a real dynamic chart in the sense that you've got a lot of support here. You're getting toward the oversold area, so I probably wouldn't be going short, and I wouldn't be going long until not only could they bring it up above the T-line, but you also want to break this little downtrend. So right now, it wouldn't be one of the tops on my list to go after. Left-right combo on this one. That one you can buy on positive trading, because if it opens positive, what is it doing? It's confirming your left-right combo, and it's telling you this little downtrend or this little resistance level is not acting as resistance anymore. Big gap up. Kicker signal. I'd suspect 45 degree off of here. ENPH, kind of your doji sandwich. This wasn't a signal, but it brought you back up above the T-line. This is your signal. Left-right combo, doji sandwich. Stay long using the T-line as your stop. Pen. Kicker, was that a kicker signal? No. It was a gap up, scoop type pattern. Stay long. I'd have a safety stop at today's open. Delta. Piercing, not quite a piercing signal. If I was short, notice your best friend gap down. If I was short, if it opened positive tomorrow, I'd probably close out the position. To stay short, you want to see it open lower and start trading lower. Amazon, as I say, with it up huge, way up here someplace, that's going to be a toughie. Tim, that's going to be a toughie. I wouldn't be buying it because now you're way up in the stratosphere. I'd be looking more like stuff like this. CarMax, stay long. Morningstar signal, J-hook pattern using the T-line as support. AKRX, kind of a fry pan bottom setup. Just make sure your volume's hefty. I'd be more apt to be a buyer on positive trading, especially if it came up through those recent highs. Beyond Meat, I wouldn't be long or short right now. You can see kind of a wedge, so you don't know which way they want to take it from here. Garmin, another one. I wouldn't be long or short. it's supporting, but there's no buying, stochastics heading down, I'd be someplace else. CVS. Oh boy. Another one, if I was short and they opened positive, I would expect they would be bouncing. I'd probably get ready to cover this. And that would also be a function of how the market's open tomorrow. Bullish engulfing on auto data. You can be buying this one on positive trading. Also not a great looking trending chart, but there's probably going to be some buying from here. And NVC, you can buy this one on positive trading. You can see how they've supported. You're probably at least in an uptrend. We did the SPY, INMD. Nothing there. When you look at a chart, now it did a little kicker type signal. If you're long, it has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck sideways. Nike short. Yes, kind of a bearish left-right combo. Bearish J-hook, didn't support at the 50. If I was going to short this one, I'd probably use today's low to start shorting. That's telling me they got a lot more downside. DBIZ, bearish left-right combo. Since you can't short this, I would have closed it out today with the bearish left-right combo closing below the T-line. This is a message. Message is they gapped it up, but then they traded it off. Now what you're looking for is you don't want to see it get back into the trading range. They need to open up positive and start trading positive. Then you can start buying. That tells you the profit taking is over. And checkpoint, nothing of any great consequence on this one. That's a junky chart. Black, I'd be more apt to go short, except the problem is you've got support right here. So if I was short, it would have to open lower and trade lower tomorrow. If it opens positive, I'd cover it, but I wouldn't be going long. The stocks, there's your big bearish left-right combo. There's a hanging man. Oh, I forgot who was asking. Hanging man looks like his head and his legs dangling down. This is a hammer signal for the tail. And again, on all these signals, the tail is 2 times greater than the body. So if not tradable chart, then yes, you've got to see what your trend is doing. If you're waffling like this, just because you get a signal doesn't necessarily mean, remember, a signal has to occur at the appropriate place in a trend. It doesn't mean a new trend is starting. If you're going to need to see a lot more confirmation to break it out of any sideways move. On AIM day, you said wait until there's a clear signal, but isn't the left-right combo count as a signal? It does, yes. But your stochastics are still heading down. If you're buying it on positive trading tomorrow, just make sure you get up through the T-line. If you don't have a decisive signal, be ready to come back out of it. Amazon up big. I don't know what to tell you there, other than if you got profits, you stay with it. Chipotle, you can see a little morning star signal when it came down below the T-line. All you can do here is stay long on this one. The tree start doji baba. The tree start. The tree start. Oh, three stars. Yeah, nothing here yet. Remember, it's not at the top of a trend. It's not at the bottom. So that's to me is a nothing chart unless you're thinking about going short. Zoom. You can see the doji gap up. You can be buying this one with the anticipation that at least your first target is the top of this trend. We did Apple, Cree, I think we did earlier today. Whoops, that's way too little. Cree had a bearish engulfing gap down. You can short this one on weakness. Yes, Jim, I see what Jim is alluding to. If you've got a chart that you really can't analyze which way it's going, this is the advantage of having such a simple scanning technique for candlesticks, because on any given day, even if it's a bad hair day, I'll still have 10 good bullish signals and 10 good bearish signals. And I can figure out what I want to do. So if I'm looking at something that doesn't give me any idea which way they're going, or if there's not a strong signal breaking out, or I can at least see the trend, go on to something else. There's plenty of supply out there. ATUS, you can see where the buying started right here on the 200. So if I was short, I would probably have covered the short position today, but I wouldn't be going long on this. Or if they open this lower and continue to take it down, if you're still short, you stay short. What that? Is that kind of a question? Let's say Royal Caribbean. Yeah, I know they should be getting hit. Whoop, they came back up. I guess there was one ship somewhere that put people into isolation. But you have kind of a belt hold, and it's all happening here. I wouldn't be a buyer of this, but if I was short, I would definitely be covering the short position on positive trading. Daniel, we do. Got the 12 major signals. We also have a mouse pad with the 12 major signals. So if you need anything like that, just email Abraham at Candlestick Forum. And he'll get you the link. Whoops. Las Vegas Sands. So if you're buying here, where do you think your first target is? Remember our criteria for the T-line. The further away you move from the T-line, the higher the probability it's going to come back up and test it. So if you're long or you bought this over the last few days, just wait to see what it does once it gets up here. Gail, we'll do a night here soon on when to be taking profits. Let's see, I thought I had a... I've lost them. Let's see, GNMK. All you can do here is stay long as it stays above the T line. And is that Gorski? Green Sky. Green Sky is getting ready for a bobble breakout. Notice how it failed. There's your Bearish Harami telling you the buying has stopped. Now it's coming back up. I'd be a buyer if it comes up through the T line. Oh, Don, I don't put a lot of time in analyzing. As soon as the Steelers are out of the football season, I kind of lose interest. ALEX. So if you were saying, where should I be buying this one? You should be saying, why would I be buying an overbought stock? It's already moved up, whatever that is, 40%. What told me that was time to buy? Well, looky right there, a little slow curve, J-hook type pattern. That's where I should be buying. And workday. There's kind of a bobble breakout also. I'd be a buyer of this one on positive trading. Wynn Resorts, yeah, I meant to go right to Wynn after Las Vegas Sands. Same scenario, yes, I wouldn't be short. If you're buying, your first target is to see what it does once it gets to the T-line, then see what it does from there. On workday today, now remember, where does a bullish engulfing signal have the most relevancy? In the oversold condition. A candlestick buy signal in the overbought area doesn't mean very much. A candlestick sell signal in the oversold area doesn't mean very much. You're looking for the candlestick buy signals in oversold, looking for candlestick sell signals in the overbought. So the only thing you can analyze on this right now is this was another good up day. Doesn't seem to want to be closing below the T-line, and this is what we call a T-line crunch. Notice how they couldn't get below the T-line, and the T-line keeps crunching the pressure, the price back up through the resistance level, which implies there's going to be more upside. The gray line, I don't know, the gray line is the 34 exponential. It works reasonably well. And SFIX. Nothing here of any great consequence. Oversold, seeing some buying. If I'd been short, I'd be covering it, but this is not a signal. So, and it's not a real dynamic chart. I'd be someplace else. On workday, yeah, kind of a fry pan bottom. Now, what happens coming out of a fry pan bottom? There's a very simple rule. If you're coming out of a fry pan bottom, that's where you use the T-line. You can stay long as it doesn't close back below the T-line. Okay, so there's going to be some good trades tomorrow. I've only found one that, this one I would be buying on positive trading on the bobble breakout. That one's obvious. And Fitch might be a good trade on positive trading tomorrow. HIMX, that's a viable one, especially if it breaks out to this level. What did you all forget? Forget symbols from earlier. Another J-hook pattern on IDXX. You can buy this one on positive trading. RKDA. Another one that, because of the big profit taking, you had a little bullish engulfing, bullish confirmation. you can think about buying this one on positive trading, telling you the profit taking's over. So if it opened positive and started trading positive, I'd put a stop at today's close because logic says if it comes back down through there, there's still profit taking. And D-Dog, fry pan bottom breakout, more than likely there's some more upside to this one, especially when it broke out through that level. SP, I heard somebody in the chat room today, and somebody on one of the financial news stations, say you can't go broke taking a profit. You can go broke taking a profit. The whole point of investing is to find something that's going to make you good money. You're always going to have situations where you get into something and you have to take a loss. So what happens when most people get a positive trade? What's the first thing they think? I better close this out because I'll sure look stupid if I let my profit turn into a loss. So you shouldn't be looking at it saying, I've got a profit, I'm going to take it. The first thing you should be doing, or the important thing you should be doing is saying, if I was buying and I'm still long, what pattern do I have setting up? Wave 1, this should be my potential. So this is SP, this is why, and it used to be me too, because if I ever had a profit, I was happier than a pig in doo-doo. But what happens? People say, I got a profit, I better take it so I don't have a loss. So they cut their profits. Or if they get into something and it goes bad, they say, I'm going to hold on to it, maybe it will come back, and they sell way down here. That's called eating like a bird and pooping like an elephant. It's backwards. You're in long positions so that you can analyze what that price move is going to be so you can maximize your profits. So I never take profits just for the sake of taking profits. Unless I've got something huge, like if I've been lucky enough to have options on Amazon, yeah, that's what I'm in the business for, is to take big profits. ADAP needs to open positive and trade positive from here to stay in this one. Oh, I don't know. This one has to open positive and trade positive. If it opens lower, you've got a bearish doji sandwich, probably taking you back down to test the T-line. Again, it's going to move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. And PRP, PRPL, there's your classic fry pan bottom J-hook pattern. And notice how the J-hook started. We recommended this one based upon the best friend gap up into wave 3. Joe, if I had calls on Amazon, they've got to be, if they're opening this up at almost 2,100, up 200 points, there's got to be some huge profits that people are going to be taking profits. I'd come out at least half of my position, so I've got that money put into my pocket. So, SP, my philosophy is, if I'm buying based on a candlestick buy signal, I'm selling based upon a candlestick sell signal. And IC, nothing. I wouldn't be long or short, because you've probably got a support level in here, but look where you're trading, back below the T-line. Daniel, it's open all the time, but people start talking in it probably about 45 minutes before the market opens. People are throwing around ideas. And I'll usually come in one or twice a day, once around noon time after everything's settled down so we can analyze charts. And then I'll come in about 15 minutes, 10 minutes before the market closes to see what things need to be cleaned up and what's going on by the end of the day. D2. You can get ready to buy this one. It's not a real, again, dynamic chart, moving sideways mostly, but you can buy this if you like this one. Okay, everybody, I kept you way past time. Okey smoky. Okay, everybody have a good evening. We'll see you bright and early in the chat rooms. We'll see you then.